Hey everybody! Welcome to today's episode of Lifestyle Chats with Val and Friends. Today's going to be a great episode. I've got psychotherapist Dr. Robbie Ludwig. She's a dear friend of mine, and she has so much wonderful thoughts and information, so much to give, so that in this time we can feel our best given the crazy circumstances that we're in right now with this pandemic. Hi, Susan. Hi, David Emmanuel. Hi, Mr. Weather. So I am going to give Robbie just a few minutes to get on the chat, and we're going to bring her on. But she is also a best-selling author of Your Best Age Is Now and has such a calming presence about her. You'll see as soon as I pull her onto the screen. And really, if you have questions about what's going on right now in terms of our mental health and our thoughts, by all means, please do write them in the chat, because Dr. Robbie is here to give advice and here to tell us that we are in this together and we're all going through things. Some of the people in your world that you might consider the absolute strongest are the people that are dealing with this very troubly, unfortunately. And that's why we all have to come together to support each other. So let me see if I can find my gal, Dr. Robbie. Hold on one second. I'm gonna hold on. She's not with us just yet, guys. Anyhow, hold on, let me X out of this. So what's today, Thursday? How's everybody's Thursday going? That's my big question. In New York City right now, I have just put in an order for my new ring light, so I'm really pumped. But right now, there's a lot of clouds, and you know, we want to bring the sunshine, and that is exactly what we aim to do at Lifestyle Chats with Val and Friends. So I wonder where she is. Let's take another look-see. Hi, everybody, for joining. This is going to be a great episode on mental health and how to cope with COVID. So by all means, thank you for your patience, because you don't want to miss it. David, I love you. Okay, hold on. Where is Robbie? Let's see. If you miss the outdoors, travel, art, food scene, trust me, I hear you. But the thing is, we've got to be smart about the way that we go back into society. And I hope that local government will... Do you like my hair, David? Oh, thank you. You guys, my hair's getting really long. And not to go off into a tangent, but my really good friend who lives in my attached building is a celebrity hairstylist. And I was like, Gregory, you want to do a segment with me so that we can all sort of learn how to do our hair? Meredith Stark from Holland. Should you do one of these with Diane McInerney or Deborah Norville, Tony? That is the goal. Yeah, everybody's busy working, but, I just talked to Diane yesterday. Love her. Okay, Robbie Ludwig is here, fashionably late, but we love her, and I'm so excited to bring her on. So hold on one second, guys. Without further ado, my friend, Dr. Robbie Ludwig, psychotherapist, ready, coping with COVID.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I was handling things for my kids. So.
Don't you ever be sorry, because you look amazing, and I'm so glad that you're here with us, Robbie.
Oh my God, I'm so happy to join you, and you look quite glamorous yourself, Missy.
I did it for our date.
I love it. This is
Me
so
too.
Cool. This is
your hair looks amazing like that. Okay, so before you jumped on the chat, I introduced you first and foremost, my friend, but a best-selling author, a psychotherapist, and we are all in this crazy times right now, so I'm so honored to have you here, Robbie, Dr. Robbie.
I am so happy to be here, and you are just like a ray of sunshine, as you always are. And I think we really need that right now. I think we really need people who have a good attitude. It's infectious, and we absorb it. Yes.
My mom tells me, every time she speaks to me, because I think it's difficult right now for parents, in a certain age bracket to not be around their kids. She says, every time I talk to you on the phone, it lifts my spirits.
Oh, that's so nice.
It is nice, but of course I have my moments too, but that's what we have to, when we feel like we're getting into, a moment of negativity or just feeling down, how do we lift ourselves out of it? Or do we feel it? I mean, what do you suggest?
And I'm hoping my daughter doesn't mess up my light. Yeah, she did not.
Hi, Jamie.
Jamie, she can say hi. I think she's avoiding. She's
so cute.
Listen, feelings are not good or bad. It's information. So if we have a negative feeling, I think it's really important to have it, understand it, try to understand what's triggering it in the moment. I mean, a lot of people are experiencing a lot of losses right now.
Right.
They might be worried about a family member who's sick. They might be worried about their finances. They might be frustrated that there doesn't appear to be an end date, or just feeling increased anxiety right now.
Yep.
And the goal is always, I hope my daughter gets that, the goal is always the problem of a home studio.
I know. That's okay, though, because we're keeping it real. And that's
we're keeping it real. The goal is always to try to feel as good as possible and to develop good mental habits. So if you can stick to really good, strong mental habits, then really you have a better chance of feeling good more often.
I love that. So for me, guys, I want to tell you a little bit about my personal story. I found myself binge eating at the beginning of this quarantine. And then all of a sudden, Dr. Robbie, a switch flipped. Yeah. And for the past 3 weeks, I haven't drank. I've been eating healthy. I exercise every day, and I feel incredible. And it could have gone in the other direction.
No, it could have. And I think we're all trying to figure out how to eat differently. And now we don't have the normal stress reducers that we typically have, whether it's getting your nails done or going to the gym or meeting that friend for lunch, or just something that helps us to forget ourselves in the moment. So when we're home, we naturally want to reach for things that make us feel good in the moment. The problem is that's not always good for us. And so you caught yourself. Yes. Before, it got too bad. And I think it's okay to have that moment where you indulge and then say, you know what, this is not where I want to be. Right. And that's where waking up with an intention is really helpful. Who do you want to be today? How do you want to present? What is your goal? So I know for me, every day, and listen, some days I do this better than others.
Sure.
And I'm always a person who does better when I'm busy versus less busy.
Yeah.
But I really wake up with wanting to provide a healthy emotional tone in my household. So if I can do that, I feel like then I'm doing my job.
And again, I mean, you have 2 children, correct?
Yes, I have 2 children.
And Jamie is how old now? Because she's in high school.
Jamie's in high school, so she's right in the thick of it, where there's no prom. She got into college, her first choice. And then this was her time to party and have fun with friends and relax and not be as stressed. So she's really feeling it, because a lot of people fled the city. We're still in the city. Yeah. And so, how much can Zoom really replace that one-on-one, especially when you're young. So I get it. It's really hard for many people out there.
My mom says, I went to the University of Florida, when I got in, she was so excited. She feels for the kids now that, can't have prom and that are in college and that had to, get sent home and that are studying online. I mean, what do you say to those parents in terms of how they talk to their children about what's going on, these young adults?
Well, to talk to your kids, have those conversations. And I think a lot of people are finding right now that family dinners has really now been resurrected in terms of having that regular meal once a day where people can talk and look at each other and share how they're feeling. So if your child can basically have a conversation, an honest communication, that's a wonderful start. Because some kids might like it better than others. They might be able to focus more and study more. I know my son, who was sent home from college and is doing it online right now, he's able to focus more because he doesn't have the parties and the distraction or people around him who may not be studying in the same way he wants to.
Again, it's silver lining that you're looking at, which I think is amazing, and we've got to sort of shift our mind in that direction when we can.
But if your child's having a tough time, to acknowledge that sense of loss and to honor it. Yeah, this is a challenge, but you're also, I recommend parents share with their kids, this is a historic moment.
For sure. It's going to be in the history books. Forever.
Yes. And this is life. Life is messy. There are things that are not within our control that will happen. you can't protect your children from it. You
Right.
can only help them navigate through it. And that really is your job as a parent.
I'm so glad that you bring that up and that you say that. That's a magical word.
Yeah. I mean, listen, your job as a parent is to give your children a toolkit, right? Or toolkits to help figure out how to manage challenges, how to manage frustration, how to manage loneliness, how to manage failure, how to manage frustration. And so here is this perfect opportunity for that. And you can't take control over everything, right? But what can you take control over? And that's where you start. What do you have control over in your life? And once you can find that, then really you can start to rebuild your life and your sense of stability.
Incredible. I mean, these are tips, Robbie, and I know you've been sharing on so many different platforms. Again, so thank you for being with us. It's like, it's challenging. A lot of us, I think, feel stuck.
Yeah.
And do you think it's okay to acknowledge that that's an okay feeling to have?
And it's reality. And I know you, Val, because you're like me. We're extroverts. And
yeah, you want to go, go, go. There's not a party that I don't see Dr. Robbie Ludwig at in New York City.
And I am so glad that I pushed myself, that I said yes to every opportunity that came my way, because I don't feel like I missed out.
True.
I really feel like, prior to this, I said yes to life. And I showed up when I said I would show up to various events. And, for extroverts, it's hard. It's hard because, being around people is like water to our soul.
Yeah,
and
it's true. I like that analogy.
And to feel stuck is just a reality, right? And to say, yeah, I am stuck in certain ways, but in what ways do I not have to be stuck? Or how can I navigate around these external realities that everyone is dealing with right now?
It's true. I love that. And I'm like taking in the information because, I mean, you can say it 1,000 times, but until we sit and try to absorb it, I think that's how it really takes an effect.
And I think for some people, it's even taking more of an effect now, because when it first happened, we were all in the same boat.
Yeah.
And there was something novel about it, maybe even exciting about it, right? We're like, oh, we're all in this new space. We're all grounded together. Okay. But after a while, when there's no end date and you can't plan for something to look forward to in a traditional sense, it starts to get wearing, and they're calling it quarantine fatigue, where people are getting frustrated, even rebelling against it. And I think now people are really feeling the intensity of the reality that we're dealing with right now, and that it may not end for a while, or this may be our new normal, and what then? What's next?
It's like I'm looking outside my window and I see somebody walking their dog with a mask. I have to remember, Robbie, not to put lip gloss on before I put my mask on.
Say it. I swear, I'm gonna reach behind, because I have it behind me. But I went out and I got on Etsy, because I heard that it was really good for small business owners. I went out and got all of these vintage scarves that I'm using, because if I'm gonna wear something covering myself, I want it to be fashionable.
Absolutely. And you come from a family of fashion, so I know.
I mean, I got like summer colors. Hello.
Oh my God, I love that.
And I found this great, I'm sharing it. I'm interviewing this artist who started out as a seamstress in the 70s and actually made masks and costumes for Twyla Tharp, who's I think that's what you say. She was a famous ballerina. And now she's going back to her roots with her husband, making masks out of the most beautiful colored material, and donating also. She's selling them, but donating many of them to healthcare workers.
Incredible.
So it's just interesting to see how people are giving back and
the resilience.
And appreciating people that we would never appreciate. I'm having long conversations with people at the supermarket who are checking me out and helping.
Sure.
I appreciate that they're showing up and putting themselves on the line.
Absolutely. And I think for those of us that are extroverts and are movers and shakers and doing this, that, and the other, and have a tough time sometimes being present.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like little things like my electric toothbrush and the smell of the coffee that I'm drinking when my Keurig is brewing, that I'm just saying, okay, Val, take a beat and enjoy it.
Yeah. I just was listening to this series that Larry King is hosting. I think it's called Positive Vibes. It's so good. And they have these really thoughtful researchers. And they had this researcher on recently who studies happiness. And she said, one of the ways to embrace happiness is savoring the moment, savoring the memory. So if it's enjoying the music that you're listening to, or the podcast, or this interview, or the deep conversation that you're having with another person, or a memory that gives you joy, allow yourself to really just stay there and sink it all in instead of, going on to your next.
So would you say the mind is like a muscle, essentially?
Absolutely. And we can train our mind. Listen, part of being optimistic is genetic, right? But we can also influence how we train our brain and how we work with our brain, understanding our mental chatter, trying to talk to ourselves, developing healthy habits. Like, as you said, you saw that you were not eating right and you got yourself back on track.
Heck yeah.
And so those habits basically help you to feel happier and healthier with yourself. And we know that people who are happier do have better immune systems. So it's really interesting when we're looking at a virus that's impacting so many, the different ways that your emotions can truly help you in terms of staying physically healthy and emotionally healthy at the same time.
I love it. And you have an amazing series, Talking Live, that I want to touch on as well. And that's where I imagine you're going to be interviewing the woman that was a ballerina that's going to be making masks.
Yes. She's an artist and worked with famous ballerinas and actually would get, she would get material back in the day that was in dumpsters and create purses and shirts. And, she was upcycling before it was even done, and she would sell at the corner of Soho. But yes, all these interesting personalities that are using their talents and skills in a powerful way during this time when we need each other so much.
Absolutely. So, okay, I'm so glad I have you here because I want to ask you another question. What do you say to people that just sort of find themselves clamming up and having sort of a panic attack or just feel the nerves, maybe haven't seen a therapist or a psychiatrist before, but have those feelings that just kind of come out of nowhere?
Yeah. Well, the first thing is to acknowledge it, and there's help out there. In some ways, more now than ever. I have really transferred my office to teletherapy. So there are so many therapists out there that are doing teletherapy and doing video conferencing, and you can do it from the comfort of your own home.
Yeah.
It's out there, and New York State even has volunteers from the mental health field that are making themselves available right now for free. You don't need any money to reach out and talk to a professional. It doesn't have to be forever. It doesn't mean that you're crazy. We all have intense emotions. We all have those triggers that really put us over the edge. And I think too, we're in unusual times in the sense that we can't even physically touch each other.
I know. It's so bizarre for me, you guys.
Yeah.
I'm so touchy-feely. Whenever I see Robbie at a party, I raise her immediately. You have such a warm presence. It's so difficult for me.
I'm a hugger. You know that. I'm a hugger and a kisser, so I don't know. Maybe I'll be a professional hugger after this. I'll just have to do that for a lost time. But we can't even physically show up for people. And so I think our whole bodies are really feeling this shift. So if somebody is struggling, and listen, you don't even have to be struggling. If you want to work on yourself, now's the perfect time to do it.
So true.
And again, to do it out of your own home. It's so convenient. And I have patients really loving it. And I do office sessions. That's how I've worked. I mean, occasionally I would do a video session or a telephone session given certain circumstances. But now, given the situation, I have to transfer my whole practice to that model. And patients are really loving it. They're like, there's something really lovely about just showing up in my own home and having a private space and just saying what I'm dealing with in the moment. So I think for many people, it can work even better.
I love that too, because I think that your patients might even see you, humanize you more.
Yeah.
As opposed to just saying, okay, I'm going in to see the doctor. You know what I mean? You're dealing with things, that you have things going on as well, but you're getting through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And triumphantly, to the best of our ability.
Right. And, it's interesting, too, because there are certain personalities that are doing better under these circumstances.
Tell us more.
Yeah. So, really, introverts are doing really well because they feel like the whole world has joined them and they have practice at this. In some cases, they've been preparing for doomsday for a long time. And so here it is, and they're realizing they can survive it.
What would you define? How would you define someone who is an introvert or has introvert tendencies? Because this is interesting for me as an extrovert to understand other types of people too.
Yeah. There are people that really don't love being around other people. They prefer to be at home. They want to really manage their interaction with others. They don't get pleasure as much from being around people. It's stressful. It's problematic. And so this feeling of being at home and not missing out on anything is a good place for them to be. It's like the whole world has joined them, right? Instead of them having to join this world that's uncomfortable.
Right.
I have a friend. I mean, try to get her into the city. No. I mean, we're all like, let's get her out. And now that this has happened, we've all joined her world. Now we're meeting her via Zoom. She's never been happier. She's like, yeah, I don't see this changing for a little while. And
well, I'm glad it's happy for some people. That's a relief. That makes me happy.
I know.
But I think it's also like allowing us to see how we can relate to other people better, because we're learning how other people deal with things truly in a time of crisis.
Yeah. It's seeing who it works well for, and it's what's really most important and what helps us to feel good about ourselves is having a real connection with others.
Totally.
And so if we can't have it in person, and listen, you could be out and about with people and still feel lonely.
It's true.
So that connection is not necessarily something that can't be had with social distancing. It's about feeling like you're being heard, or you can really share your real emotions. And we can still have that and create that. And so I think that's the goal right now. And to use this time to just work on ourselves in whatever way that looks like for a person.
Because everybody's story and everybody's techniques are different and individual.
I heard this great term today, and I'm just going to steal it. I'm going to steal it.
Go, girl.
This researcher who studies happiness, and she said, it's important to do your me search instead of research. You're studying about yourself. And when you think about it, that's really what therapy is about. You're studying yourself and how you want to be, or just what interferes with you feeling the way you want to feel. And so this is really a time to look inward and say, who am I now? Who do I want to be? What would I like to work on? What would I like to learn? What would I like to try? As long as you're in that creative space, you're going to feel better.
Absolutely. Okay, so another thing that's happening is people are on top of each other in small places in certain parts of the country. Couples, roommates, people that are on top of each other that are having issues. How do you think they can deal with them? We're realizing things. So-and-so is messy. So-and-so doesn't clean this. I mean, a lot of people.
So-and-so sneezes too loud.
Mm-hmm.
Chews too loud. Yeah. Listen.
They didn't wash their hands. I mean.
Right. Everyone has idiosyncrasies, so it's important to be aware of yours. Mm-hmm. And the other person is also imperfect, and to try to engage in patience. So instead of responding from a reactive place, which is in the moment, being angry, attacking or devaluing, to take a beat and say, okay, I want to respond to this situation in as positive a way as possible. So when you're not feeling angry, point it out. Our whole family relationships are being restructured. Marital relationships are being restructured. I just read an article, I think it was in People magazine, Jada Pinkett Smith was saying how, I love her. She brings up such really deep and valuable and private topics in a very public platform, really.
Right.
And she was saying that she's really getting to know her husband in a whole new way, and herself, and they're really getting to know each other. So as much as we like to think that we want to be intimate, I think a lot of people truly do avoid intimacy. They don't really want to be that intimate. They avoid intimacy, even if they're in a relationship. It's like, okay, they take their relationship for granted. So this may be a time to have that deeper level of understanding the person that you're with and giving space. Give a person space to just be.
Just amazing points. Okay, so guys, we covered people that are on top of each other quarantining, and covered kids that, have been sent home and are studying that, can't be at college. We covered introverts and extroverts. We covered how to deal with stress. Oh my gosh. What haven't I touched on, Dr. Robbie, that you could leave us with?
I think the goal is you want to create some kind of schedule for your life. And these are the little things that I've done that have really helped me. So I can share that. Staying from a creative place, constantly working on the things, the projects I want to work on, connecting with the people I want to connect to in a meaningful way, and getting dressed and putting my makeup on has done wonders for me.
Hello, everyone. This is for you.
I wore my moon earrings for you.
Oh, you look amazing.
Yes, I did.
Oh, honey, I'm sorry. I didn't pull those out earlier. They look great.
But you feel more like yourself. It's kind of like you're ready to confront the world and to remind yourself this is not going to be forever. Everything that has a beginning has an end.
Sure.
And to use this time valuably, this is what we have right now.
Yeah.
So this is the situation, and so you can either complain about it, rebel against it, or you can say, how can I use this to my advantage? And that's always a stronger position to be in.
I love it. I mean, that is definitely the outlook I think that we all need to adopt right now. And it's very incredible. I'm so glad that you say that. Okay, so Talking Live, tell everybody where and when they can tune in, because I know you do incredible episodes so frequently.
Oh, thank you. So, they can find me on Talking Live with Dr. Robbie Ludwig on Facebook. It's on Facebook Watch.
Amazing.
Also, I usually link shows on my Instagram. So if you want to follow me at Dr. Robbie Ludwig, we have one right now on movement and mantras. So it's Erin Stutlin is who we interviewed, and she has a whole huge community in multiple countries where she teaches people to move into empowerment. So it's a combination of moving and saying healing words to yourself in order to get you to feel ready for your day and stronger emotionally.
You made such a good point that a lot of people don't realize, yes, happiness is somewhat genetic, but there's a big part of it that can be self-taught.
Huge. And it does impact everything from how youthful we look to how fit we are,
Sign me up
how
on this.
emotionally fit we are, mentally strong we are. It influences our DNA expression as well. So really, how we talk to ourselves and learning to focus on things that make us feel better, savoring the moments, really does have such a profound impact on our lives and how we experience our lives.
Incredible, and such an important point that I wanted to bring up again, because I don't think that people necessarily realize that.
Yeah, I think people separate the mind from the body, and they're one and the same. So if you are treating your body well, it will influence your mind. If you're
100%.
treating your mind well, ultimately, it will show on your body. They are one and the same, and I think we do ourselves a disservice to separate them out because they're not separate. And I do know that because if my head was separate, I would not find it half the time.
Dr. Robbie Ludwig, thank you so much for being with us. You guys,
Thank you.
I love you. Also, Your Best Ages Now is By My Bedside. That's Robbie's book. I love it.
Well, and Your Best Age is always, Val. I mean, you just get better and better. That's the goal.
Yes, sister, and we all can do it. So thank you so much, guys. Thanks for watching Lifestyle Chats with Val and Friends. Dr. Robbie Ludwig, you are truly a gem. I love you. Thank you so much for just always being there. No matter how often I see you, you're just incredible.
So great being with you. I look forward to seeing you in person.
Me too. Talking live. Oh, Meredith Stark, you're welcome. It was our pleasure. Dr. Robbie Ludwig show on Facebook Watch.
Yes.
Amazing.
Come join us. It's a useful conversation for all to have.
Always, absolutely. Thanks, guys, and you've been validated.
Okay.
Bye.